Okay, Mr. Holloway, I'm gonna gill away. I'm gonna talk into the mic tonight. I get emails. Your mic is on, but you're not talking into it.
My puppy is experiencing grief. My puppy is experiencing my grief. My puppy is getting older, so she has arthritis, and my puppy plays too hard on her younger cheeks. So she's not dying. And this afternoon, she's on medication. Thank you. Thank you for asking. Sorry for the long explanation.
Yeah, this is still being figured out.
It's a law, so it's gotta come on. I know it's gotta come on, it's a law. Look, the attorneys, it's a law, it's already effective law. So, the problem is,
No, we all,
So,
Take her to Harlem.
that number's 2.5,
are you prepared to speak on the situation?
and it's an annual law.
Okay, because he's here again tonight, so it will come up.
Because it's money already spent,
Have you talked to John?
but it's an annual.
Yeah, would you please? 'Cause can you just
$105,000
refer it to you?
revenue or income.
gotta explain that to them.
Once we have, once I know what it means, I mean, we're still figuring out what the law means, what the change means.
Figure it out, get my shit. Figure this stuff out, man. We're not markets on the back or whatever.
The little house. We have that approved. Little house. I think that's the way to go. We're gonna be, I don't like, and I'm against the multi-generational housing. People have 5 families. I think you got 2 parking spaces, they've got 10 cars. They do.
For a 2-person household or household with sewer bill?
Exactly, and I think that needs to be looked at. And we're gonna come in, we're gonna, census data to figure it out. Sounds like an intrusion, but there's only one solution. And all, and that's what's gonna happen. Stick homes, multi-generation, and they're gonna be,
The hip.
750 homes is 1,500 cars.
Everywhere she's rolling around, but vet says she also thinks a big there's a lot going on.
My neighborhood, they're on the streets, we don't even have speed limits on. Our streets are all different widths. I mean, you couldn't get a fire truck and a pickup truck down that same street. Kill each other.
Are they dedicated to the township or are they?
Dedicated to the township, and then we dedicated.
Ready?
This is back. Would never happen today. Never happened to us.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Board of Supervisors Workshop Meeting this May 12th, 2026. Let's all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Again, good evening. Just want to inform the public that we did have an executive session prior to this meeting to discuss some personnel matters. Item number 3 on the agenda, presentation on the proposed traffic signal on Mountain Road, SR 3019 at the I-81 southbound off-ramp. And today we have presenting Mr. Chris Messner. Floor is yours, sir.
Good evening, supervisors and attendees. Appreciate you making the time for us today on your agenda. With me here this evening as well as Ben Singer. He's with PennDOT District 8 And I'm Chris Messner. I'm with Greenman Peterson, and we're the engineer designing the project for PennDOT.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Could you, here, right here. Could you turn your mic on? There should be a little green dot.
Yes. I'm sorry, is that better?
Perfect, thank you.
Wonderful. All right. So we're here this evening to talk about the North Mountain Road at exit 72 from I-81 intersection improvement project. It's with the southbound off-ramp. Ramp C is what I'll refer to that this evening in the presentation. And the work is anticipated to include the installation of a new signal at the intersection with Ramp C and North Mountain Road. We will be doing some widening work along Ramp C to accommodate right turn movements, as well as line up the left turning traffic better with the signal. And the limits of the project on the left side of the screen is the bridges on North Mountain Road over top of Interstate 81, and to the right of the screen, just off of the screen, is the existing signalized intersection with North Lock Willow and Bluebird Avenues. So the limits of the project are what's shown in yellow and orange, yellow being the travel lanes and the paved surface, orange being the shoulders for the project, and then there's some bluish purple areas there. Those are concrete island and median areas that are to be modified. Essentially, the proposed project sits on top of the existing roadways that are there today. We're maintaining existing lane and shoulder widths on North Mountain Road and on the ramps. Ramp C, as I mentioned, is going to be widened for that right turn movement towards the intersection with North Lock Willow and Bluebird. But essentially, everything is on top of the existing road that's there today or within that existing footprint. All work will be completed within existing PennDOT right-of-way and easements. And the purpose of this project is to improve safety and traffic operations at the intersection. The project's really needed because of the accident history that's there at the intersection. And the intersection's on the crash cluster list for several crash types. We looked at reportable crashes for a 5-year period. There were 35 reportable crashes, and of those crashes, 80% are for vehicles making a left turn from Ramp C to go southbound on North Mountain Road. We have also observed frequent improper movements at this intersection. Those include U-turns at the intersection for vehicles traveling in either direction on North Mountain Road to make that U-turn, vehicles that want to go straight across from Ramp C at the bottom of your screen to Ramp D in the top of your screen. They try to go straight across to get back on 81 southbound. And then also left turns from North Mountain Road onto Ramp D at the top of the screen. And left turns really aren't permitted at this intersection. So we do have proposed signal improvements that address those movements. So we have some barrier curb that'll be in that orange area towards the top of your screen that will deter traffic from going straight across. We're also making improvements to the concrete median, ends of the concrete median there to better align the turning traffic from the ramp onto North Mountain Road. The proposed signal is going to be coordinated with the two existing signals that are north on North Mountain Road, and they will be coordinated with cellular routers, and that'll all be fed back to PennDOT's Traffic Management Center. We're also going to, as part of the signal, a traditional signal has circular lights for the red, yellow, and green. At this intersection, we're proposing, along with those colors, that they would actually be arrow indicators so that traffic would, coming up there, they're wanting to make that left-hand turn, it's going to actually give them a left arrow in that green instead of just a green light. More emphasis on, we want you to turn left. The right turn lane, I forgot to mention this, the right turn lane for going north on North Mountain Road, that will not be part of the signal. That'll be free flowing like it is today. Ramp detection is also proposed further down on ramp C so that we monitor the queues of traffic so that we don't back traffic up onto the interstate. So we'll have queue detection for that. As we're constructing this project, we're going to maintain traffic on North Mountain Road by closing a single lane at a time, maintaining a single lane at all times. A lot of the work's going to be done at night to minimize traffic impacts. When we're working on the ramps, doing the widening along ramp C, we anticipate that we'll do that with a weekend closure from Friday evening to early Monday morning with the amount of work that's there to be able to get that widening done. Ramp G and Ramp D, the other two ramps which are accessing southbound 81, those would be nighttime closures to be able to do the pavement work. If there's any special events that you know of in the area that we should be aware of where you would not want us to interrupt traffic on an evening, please let us know and we can accommodate that in our bid documents. This information, along with other information on the project, is also posted onto PennDOT District 8's website. There's a link to that on the township's website. We saw that posted there today. There's a comment form. That information will be available until June 12th for public comment and questions. The project is currently in design, so we're welcome to your feedback and questions concerning the project. We anticipate construction being next year, 2027, beginning in the spring and being completed by the fall of the year. Just to make the township aware, the project in design, it's currently on a little bit of a fast track schedule to take advantage of some money that became available for safety improvement projects. So we're currently working through that design. Late May, we should be able to provide pre-final signal plans to the township for review, along with some supporting documents for forms for connecting the proposed signal to the two existing signals, as well as minor modifications to those signals. So we'll be submitting those forms late May. And then ultimately, we'll need the township to sign the signal plan before the project goes to construction. So we'll be coordinating that as the design progresses. We're going to finalize our bid package in July and then put it out for bids. Bids will be opened in September. So pretty aggressive between now and that bid time. So with that, that covers the information I was going to present this evening, but I'll take any questions that you might have or the attendees.
Thank you, Mr. Missner. I do have a question. So the northbound entrance ramp, right, off Mountain Road, that's pretty short. Is there anything going to be done with that, lengthen it? I mean, I take that ramp all the time going to New York City, but it's short. You don't have a whole lot of time to get on.
Yeah, as part of this project, we're just focused on the ramp C, the southbound off-ramp there, and then the resurfacing with the other two off-ramps. So that northbound entrance ramp, we don't currently plan for any improvements there.
All right, thank you. Other questions from the board? Go ahead. And then we'll open it up for public comment.
So, I'm trying to recall, we had a situation maybe last year where we didn't have enough bidders on this type of roadwork project. Do you think this time we'll have? Are there a lot of people out here that do this work?
Yes, there's a lot of contractors that do this work, and based on current bidding with PennDOT, I would anticipate that bidding would not be a problem.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments?
Question, you stated that the construction should start in 2027,
Yes,
correct?
next spring.
and it should be completed in 2027,
Yes.
correct? Okay, thanks.
I just have a curious question. You mentioned that there'll be queue detection for any traffic backing up on 81, what would that be, 81 South. Does that happen now? I mean, given the fact that you can barely cross Mountain Road without an issue, does it happen now that traffic backs up onto the interstate?
Not that I've personally observed, but Ben may have some information on that.
Yeah, we don't have any statistics now, but it's more of a safety measure, just in case, like, heaven forbid, there's an accident on 81 southbound and everybody's getting off at the exit. So that's more of a safety factor we want to build in, especially because we're putting a new signal in. We might as well do it now rather than, heaven forbid, wait till something happens.
When we met with PennDOT, Ben and the other fellows from PennDOT in February, this was on our list, and we thank you because you were one step ahead of us in taking care of this. So thank you again. We were surprised, so we appreciate it.
No problem.
So any other supervisor comments? Any public comment? Mr. Minsker.
Good evening, Bill Minsker from Linglestown. In reference, Chairman John, with your comment about that northbound exit ramp onto North Mountain Road, I have said many times and suggest again, the yield sign that is there with the very short room to exit should be replaced by a stop sign that I think would solve the issue of people not yielding. They would stop. And that seems to me to be a very simple solution. Take the yield sign away and put a stop sign there. Thank you.
If I may, Bill, I think you had asked me about that question, and we did bring it up to PennDOT in February, and they said that there is not enough room because there's not enough road on the side, plus you have all the properties to extend the ramp. And do you want to take care of that, Ben?
Well, I guess the issue, he's referring to just installing a stop sign. Unfortunately, I'm not a traffic engineer, so that's something our traffic unit would have to look at. So I would recommend the township, submitting a letter, having them look at, hey, could you replace it with a stop sign? And,
Yeah, I know when, we met in February, we did suggest that, but Kevin said no.
well,
So-
I would submit a formal letter.
Okay.
Hi, I just wanted to ask the PennDOT guy, because I had submitted a thing to PennDOT about Locust Lane and was told Locust Lane would be the spring of '26. And then I was told the spring of '27. So is this gonna push Locust Lane back? Are you gonna do them both at the same time?
So this funding is totally separate funding source than Locust Lane. This is federal funding through the TIP. The Locust Lane project is a 409 project, which is using our county maintenance funding. So it's totally separate funding. So they don't have any effect on each other. I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to double check. Because I know there's been issues on Locust Lane with utilities. That's the one thing I've been hearing.
Okay, any other public comment? Yes.
William Miller, 4311 Crestview. The one question I have, I don't see it on there, would be the sidewalks, because a lot of people do traverse that road. They go back and forth and walk, so I wonder how that's going to happen. And a point was made, I've made it in the past, but you mentioned people make those U-turns. I'm pretty much an anti-U-turn guy. I think in a bigger scope and picture, I'll mention it later, but this U-turn thing is all up and down Route 22. I almost tag people, or I get tagged a lot. And we used to, if my memory serves, we used to have U-turn signs on Route 22, and at one point they went missing because someone wanted them missing. And I think I don't know, it'd be up to our chief, if you think, this U-turn thing, I don't know the number of accidents we have from U-turns. But I experience a lot of people just cutting me off, and they have a trailer, or they can't turn. I just think we should have no U-turn signs down, and I don't know if that would speed up, get rid of choke points, and so on. But on Mountain Road, that would be a great idea, too, to really enforce that there. Thank you.
So with the coordination of the signals now, right, from, North and South Mountain Road, that should alleviate a lot of the backups, right, on Mountain Road heading towards 22?
Correct.
Okay, great.
Yeah. And just to comment on the sidewalk that the gentleman mentioned there, there's currently no existing pedestrian facilities at at this ramp intersection. There are sidewalks and pedestrian facilities at Lock Willow and Bluebird, and we don't anticipate proposing sidewalk facilities at this intersection because we have adequate shoulder there for anyone that would be walking there.
Okay. All right, any other public comment? All right, hearing none and seeing none, thank you so much for your presentation. I tell you what, it's a welcome sight. I make that left turn coming from New York City all the time, and I tell you what, I could have been one of those 35. I mean, easily. It's a welcome sight. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Appreciate
for
it.
having us this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, on to item number 4 of the agenda, chair and board comments. I'm going to hold my comments until the discussion about the public comment section. So any other chair and board comments?
Yes, I'm not too sure if everybody's aware, but this is National Police Week. And I want to thank our police department for having the integrity and the bravery for keeping us here in the township safe every day. And thank the ones that have been deceased that were here that also had the integrity and the bravery. So thank you so much, Director. Appreciate it. Last week, Supervisor Thompson and myself and some of our staff, we attended the 60th anniversary of the Tri-County Regional Planning Commission. And again, another networking with other supervisors and commissioners from the East Shore and the West Shore.
As Supervisor Lindsay said, I was at that meeting also. It gave me an opportunity to network with a number of people, one from Cumberland County specifically, and then a gentleman from Tri-County Regional Planning Commission. I left them with a number of questions regarding data centers. So I'm hoping to get some answers from these two people within the next couple of weeks. Mine, for the Cumberland County Data Center presentation, my 10 questions were among, I believe she said 300 or maybe 200 questions. Tri-County Regional Planning Commission didn't have as many questions, so maybe I'll get some answers from them sooner. So I'm looking forward to getting this information back. These networking opportunities are really good, so I like to get out and meet other elected officials who are dealing with the same issues that we're dealing with.
Yeah, and at our table, we sat with the Parks and Recreation from Susquehanna Township, and also their community planning from Susquehanna Township too. So even though we're right beside each other, we don't get to meet those people, so it's good to just keep networking, as Supervisor Thompson said.
Awesome. Any other supervisor comments? Okay, seeing none. Manager's report, item number 5.
No report.
No report. All right. Moving on to item number 6. Number 6.1, action to authorize GHD to proceed with award of a contract for trunk, age cleaning, televising, and manhole inspection to mobile dredging and video pipe through a CoStar contract. And we have Melissa Smith here to present,
Yes.
our engineer.
Yes. Good evening and thank you. I want to give a little bit of background on this one before I get to the point of this being on the agenda. So GHD is currently working on the design for the trunk gauge project. The trunk gauge project is a trunk line that's about 6,000 linear feet, 3,000 asbestos concrete pipe, and the other 3,000 is reinforced concrete pipe. So traditionally, we replace the asbestos concrete pipe without any investigation because that pipe is in very poor condition and is part of the reason why we have so many leaks in our system that we need to repair. So the RCP portion historically has been in fairly good condition, so we haven't touched it in a lot of areas. But now that we are getting to the end of this project, we were suggesting that the trunk line, the RCP portion of the trunk line, be cleaned and televised because no one's been in there for a while. And we just want to make sure that there's no defects or anything that's going to be causing additional water to enter that we're not aware of that could affect the effectiveness of this project, since we're so close to our goals in removing the infiltration. So with that said, GHD prepared a project manual and sent it to 4 contractors with the understanding that that project would be done under the CoStars program. We got 2 quotes back. One was from Mobile Dredging for the $71,700, and the second was from USG for $99,750. So tonight we're asking for approval to move forward with Mobile Dredging for the cleaning, televising, and inspection project. And then if that is approved, GHD will be requesting the documentation for Mobile Dredging needed to award the project. And just as a side, the work from this contract will be paid under the authority's budget.
Okay, all right. Well, Ms. Smith, thank you so much. Do I have a motion to approve and authorize GHD to proceed to award the contract?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. Any discussion?
I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
So, GHD, how many people did we have bid on this?
We sent it to 4. Since it's a CoStars project, you don't have to like publicly bid those.
Okay.
So
CoStars means that we're getting a discount because of our relationship with the state. Is that, remind me?
If I may, I wouldn't necessarily say a discount, but because it's pre-bid with the state, essentially, we're able to piggyback on the state's contract, and we don't have to go through the full bidding process, which can add several $1,000s on to a project just from engineers' time, putting specs together, going through the bid process. You're also able to move a little more promptly under CoStars because it is a set of documents that they work from, and you don't have to go through a full at least 30-day bid process.
All right, thank you. And then when you were making your presentation, you said, when was the last time we were in there?
I don't have an exact date for it, but it's been at least 20 years since anyone's been in there to televise and clean that line. So, you know, with the last time it was done, we would have had TV work, but since the duration's been so long, anything really could have happened. So just want to make sure that there's not any issues that like a collapsed pipe or like an open joint or something that would be letting in water that, you know, we're obviously trying to take out with the replacement portion.
Okay, all right.
Melissa, is this something that should be done every 5, 10 years to have it cleaned out, or just when you feel that you need to do it?
Most people don't get into the interceptors very often just because there's such a large volume of flow in there that they're normally fairly self-cleaning. So 20 years is probably a good time frame to do that, just to make sure that like some silt or something any kind of debris isn't like settled in. But you can generally tell if that's the problem just with how much flow is coming out. Like our GHD monitors like all the flow leaving all of the larger trunk lines. So if there's any issues where, you know, they're not seeing as much or seeing something that might have been a problem with the line, then they'll suggest that it be cleaned at that point. But right now, we're really just looking to make sure that there's no like extra infiltration coming
So
in.
being proactive just in case. Okay.
Yeah, because you're spending money to go in and replace a portion of that trunk line that's in bad condition that we know. So if there is a problem with it, it's better to get it done now because the permitings would be done together. The contractor would already be there and mobilized, so it just makes sense if there is a problem, to do it now.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Any other comment? Any public comment? Mr. Miller?
Where is this trunk line? I mean, I didn't know I could pull that up. I'm just curious where this one is.
It's back along Fairmont, behind, what's that road back there?
Union Deposit.
Union Deposit, and then if you go north on Fairmont, there, it's like behind the homes that, it's very close to the last sewer replacement project.
Okay,
I'll look at that then.
Yeah.
okay.
I'm sorry, I have one more question. Will this be completely transparent to the residents, not have any impact on them?
It shouldn't have any impact to the
Okay.
residents because the trunk line is down further in a valley. The township did do some clearing of that right of way so that, you know, the contractor and their equipment can get back into service that line. But it is kind of down further in the gully, and there hasn't been any complaints or anything from the homeowners, and they had been notified that the clearing would be taking place.
Is that up around Wheatfield, coming down Fairmont there at the Wheatfield, barley corn? No.
I think it is. I think it
Okay,
is.
I did look at the map and it showed the Fairmont Drive and it did show the Wheatfield.
Do you know where the culvert was replaced?
Yep,
Yeah,
that's Fairmont. Yep, right there.
right there.
Yeah, and then Wheatfield's just, it just
Couple
extends right
roads up,
onto it. Yeah.
Okay, any other comment?
I'm sorry, I just have one question. Hold on one second. Mr. Miller, is that an area where you've seen dumping? No?
No, I don't
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
All right. All those in favor of authorizing GHD to proceed with awarding the contract for this service, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Have the same right? The ayes have it. You are authorized. Item number 6.2 of the agenda. Action to adopt Resolution 2026-13, authorizing the execution of an appendix to the WREP agreement between Lower Paxton Township and Dauphin County. Ms. Smith, you're up again.
All right. So this appendix is just an addition to the existing agreement between Lower Paxton and Dauphin County. It is to do some additional work, just inventorying the best management practices throughout the township. Ritu is the retained engineer to do that work. Tri-County Regional Planning Commission would be the holder of the BMP inventory study, and Dauphin County administrates the funds. So it's a collaborative undertaking to kind of save some money to do it with the surrounding municipalities. So Lower Paxton's level of contribution to this is not to exceed $22,483 in 2026 and $29,119 in 2027. So it's to pay Ritu to do the study and inventory all the BMPs in the township.
All right, do I have a motion to adopt Resolution 2026-13?
moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion? So you mentioned cost savings through the collaboration. Do you have a sense of numbers, what that looks like at this
I
point?
do not have
I
a
know, I
sense
didn't
of
mean to
that
throw it
offhand.
at you. All right,
I can find out for you, but I do not have that offhand.
other discussion?
Where's the money coming from to pay this? I liked it when you said the authority was
The
paying for
authority is paying for this one as well.
Oh, awesome. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The authority got and we've never made that announcement, Chair Campbell. The authority got about $600,000 back from the work that Swadera Township Authority does for us. And I was quite proud of that, but
I think you did mention it in a prior meeting.
Did I?
Yes, you did.
okay, I don't think I did, because, no, So we're really using that 600,000.
Awesome.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of said motion, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, ayes have it. Resolution 2026-13 has been approved. Next on the agenda, item number 6.3, action to approve a final change order number 2 and final application for payment number 11 for the PC-2E/2F and miscellaneous repairs contract.
That
Ms.
one's
Smith,
also me.
please tell us about this.
And this is one of the contracts that's been going on, and most of it was completed in 2026. It was that trunk line replacement off of Blue Mountain Road in Jacobs. That was done because there was an overflow that had occurred in one of the manholes in someone's backyard due to a broken pipe that was causing some problems. So that has been completed. Part of that contract, we had also tacked on a couple of the miscellaneous repairs that were needed throughout the township. That work has all been done. The punch list items are complete. So the final application for payment is due, which is application for payment number 11. And then the final adjusting change order just trues up all of the line items since they're like bid basis. So it trues it up at the end. And the contract came in $165,000 below the original contract amount.
Okay.
That's always nice.
Yes.
Do I have a motion?
Yes, it is.
Do I have a motion to approve the final change order and final application of payment as presented? Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Who's paying for that?
I
Authority.
know.
It's a good night.
Decrease.
Thank you.
All right. All right, any public comment? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed have the same right? Ayes have it. Thank you, Ms.
you.
Smith. All right, on to item number 6.4, discussion of proposed revisions to public comment guidelines, AKA rule of decorum. So let me just start off by saying, look, this is a public comment, decorum within our township meetings, very, very important. The current resolution has been in place for 10 years, and a lot has happened in 10 years. So it's absolutely time for us to, update the resolution. And I like the way it's presented in that it broadens the scope to include the meeting, right? There are a lot of other things apart from public comment that we need to address. So I appreciate the fact that it's been broadened. Solicitor Stennett will kind of set the table for us as we open up our discussion. But one of the things I've learned, again, through the Sunshine Act, it's about making sure that we have orderly meetings, right? Making sure that there's decorum, making sure that we get business done for the people of Lower Paxton Township. Someone said at the last meeting, the people are number one. The citizens are number one. Everything we do here is about the citizens of Lower Paxton Township. And by getting business done, we make the citizens of Lower Paxton Township number one. So that's what this is all about. So I encourage everyone who has a comment to make a comment, right? So what we'll do is I'm going to ask Solicitor Stennett to kind of share his thoughts. He's done a lot of work for us on this resolution, and to kind of set this table for us, to set the stage for us in terms of our discussion. We'll then have the supervisors share their comments, and then we'll open it up to the public to share their comments as well. After we are done here today, the resolution will be updated and revised by our solicitor, and we will vote on the resolution at our next meeting. And of course, at the next meeting, there will be public comment on that version of the resolution as well. So, with that said, Mr. Stennett, please set the table for us.
Sure, thank you. I think one thing I want to start out with is by really, although we're broadening the current resolution, I actually think we're really just memorializing a lot of the processes and procedures you all have in place informally, and we're just putting them in a formal document that's all encompassing. For instance, Robert's Rules. We're typically operating under Robert's Rules. It's just not expressly stated. So toward that, we're incorporating the scope of public comment, which is established by the Sunshine Act. We're setting forth the procedures for public comment. We're incorporating the same time limits that are in place. However, we are adding a provision for certain items that might require more than the typical 5-minute time limit that you have. If there's something that might take more than 5 minutes, a resident can request an agenda item be placed that would allow for a presentation that might exceed that typical 5-minute time frame. We also are really trying to set forth uniform rules because the issue that you often run into is if you don't have a set of uniform rules established, they're not applied consistently, and then when a meeting goes off the rails, you try to. And that's when you often run into First Amendment issues where you're trying to curtail speech. You haven't done so consistently throughout your prior history, and that's where you potentially run into some First Amendment issues. But I really think that the goal here is to protect the First Amendment rights of the public, because what happens, the folks sitting here tonight, they're not the ones that cause the issues when the meetings go off the rails. It's the people that are purposely trying to disrupt a meeting. Oftentimes they're brought in on contentious issues from outside the community. I've had to sit through that. And the good folks sitting here tonight don't get their chance to actually comment because the meeting's off the rails by folks who are being boisterous, shouting from the audience. So really we're trying to protect the First Amendment rights of those who want to come up, offer comment that is thoughtful, that is relevant, and that isn't designed to derail the meeting. That way we can get those comments on the record. When you look at the case law involving potential First Amendment violations, the big thing that they focus on is uniformity in applying the rules. In my experience, if you have a set of rules that you've adopted that are sitting on the table, that everyone sitting here tonight is familiar with, they're applied at every meeting, they're typically going to continue to be applied when a meeting goes off the rails. It's a little bit raised temperature. We're not going to act differently in that sort of circumstance. I also think that it's my typical recommendation that there's sort of a sliding scale of handling things where we try to cool things down before we go to the more draconian measures. And I think that's what I will recommend here. Again, that's kind of going to be a meeting by meeting issue, but I think that it's just helpful to have something in writing that we're following at every meeting. That way, when an issue arises at a contentious meeting, we know the game plan, we operate under it, but the public also has the same understanding as well.
Great, thank you, Mr. Stannard. And again, with the rules in place, this is not just for this board, it's for future boards as well, right? So if updates need to be made on an ongoing basis in future years, there's a document there that can be updated to fit the times. So it's now time for supervisor comments. And what I'll say is let's limit the questions at this point. You can ask questions, we'll do our best to answer them, but let's limit the questions because we want to make sure everybody has a chance to raise their hands and get to the podium and make their comments. So I'll start out with.
I have a question.
Yes.
Just a question. The document that we're looking at tonight, could somebody please tell me where that came from? Was it like boilerplate from another community? Was it something that you all put together and this is like our first step? Where did this document originate?
It's kind of a mixture of the rules that we have typically implemented in other communities, nearby communities. We did obviously sort of tailor it to what was already in place because I'll be pretty blunt. You guys have a 5-minute limit. That's pretty rare these days. It's usually 3. So the ones I put together for most of my communities, we start at 3. But we kept that 5-minute. I actually said, hey, do you guys want to change that? And the direction I was given from Mike was, no, let's continue with the current 5-minute time frame. So we kind of added those things. But I wouldn't say boilerplate. It's more a document that we've grown over time. Frankly, it's grown more recently.
Who's we? I'm sorry.
My firm, sorry.
Okay.
And just in, working with the various municipalities that we do represent, what we've seen, for instance, the use of recording devices section, that grew because I was at a meeting where someone decided to place the recording device directly in the face of the chair, and the chair couldn't see out anymore and couldn't really manage the meeting. So now we typically suggest set a place aside where the recording can occur that's not going to interrupt the meeting. So it's really a document that's just grown based on our experiences as a firm that, does a lot of municipal work.
And look, I really want to hear from the public. I spoke with several of you after the last meeting, and I said, show up. Let's be here, right? Let's be a part of the process. So let me start off with a couple comments myself, and then we'll turn it over to the other supervisors. So we did change the public comment to the end of the meeting. I'm not averse to public comment being at the beginning of the meetings, right? I'm not. But I want to make sure that, but I would offer and suggest that if we're going to have public comment in the beginning of the meeting, that it must be on agenda items, right? So I'm open to that as well. And then perhaps, we can have a public comment section at the end of the meeting where we talk about general township matters, right, that are not agenda items. Again, would love to hear from you, hear your thoughts, on that. One of the other items that just want to throw out there for consideration is the amount of times that someone can approach the podium on a single issue, right? So we have a general public comment on business matters in the beginning. The person comes up, says what they're saying during their time, and then they come up again during that same session, right? I think that should be one time. Anytime a public comment is afforded a citizen, each citizen has 5 minutes, right? And because there are other people that want to speak, and other people, we want to make sure all of our citizens get an opportunity to speak. In the proposed resolution, I didn't see where we addressed the name, where the person would announce their name and address. And for me, I think it should be in there, but I think the chair should have the option to waive that, at the chair's, discretion. I think there should also be something in there that talks about this document superseding prior resolutions, so referring to this document as well. All right, I'll hold any further comments and open it up to the rest of the supervisors for comment.
Okay, I feel that the public comment should be held at the beginning, and I don't feel it should be on agenda items. I feel that when you go to the agenda item, then that's when I want to have public comment. If you have it in the beginning and you're making, when the agenda items, everybody's making their comment, I think it's distracting. It would be distracting to me because I'm looking at the next agenda item. I'm not trying to process all those comments on all the other agenda items. So I would like to keep it at the beginning, just regular public comment, and then public comment on each agenda item. And it did say in there about the 3 business days that you would contact the secretary. That would not be me. That would be Ms. Smith. She is the administrative assistant. She would take care of all of that. You would call into her for the 3 business days ahead of schedule if you plan to be on the agenda, not under public comment, but on as a agenda item.
Okay, other supervisor comments?
I'll go down the line. I think this discussion is going to get really interesting, how we're going to conclude this, because we're all giving our different opinions, but it's really not going to be a consolidated document, regardless. Regarding agenda items and when public comment occurs, for me, I would agree with Supervisor Lindsay as far as public comments on agenda items. I like it when it takes place during the discussion of the particular agenda item, because I think that helps direct the supervisors with our comments and our ultimate vote, so that we can listen to it that way. The document as proposed does not separate agenda item public comment versus general public comment. Personally, different than Supervisor Lindsay, I prefer in a way that the general public comment be determined by each agenda item, or excuse me, each meeting agenda to be at the discretion of the board and or the chair. Because I think there's some meetings where it makes sense to have it maybe earlier. I don't know when that would be, but if we needed a set spot in the agenda, I would be more inclined to vote in favor of having it towards the end, so that when people speak, maybe there's 15 people that want 5 minutes on 15 different topics. An engineer from an outside consulting firm isn't sitting there for 75 minutes listening to other topics, being paid $250 an hour to sit there and say, I need to wait until my item comes up. So I would like to see us conduct business first before non-agenda public comments be written, or, be submitted. I have my notes here, I'm sorry. One of the things that I had suggested, just in kicking it around way earlier when I was talking with another supervisor, not in here, I would like to see the ability for the general public to issue a written comment and submit it for consideration and not have to physically attend a meeting to offer their public comment. There are other communities that accept public comments that way. I'm not sure how they determine which ones will be presented, or read out loud at a meeting. I don't really know the logistics of that, but I do think that it would be a nice opportunity to give our residents or our citizens the opportunity to submit a public comment other than actually attending in person. The other thing some other communities do, and this is why I said all of this is going to get interesting, they also allow people to submit phone comments, 2-minute phone comments that are then determined whether to be valid or maybe maybe they're profane and they wouldn't be said. But I've actually listened to news reports where they've played a public comment that was received over a phone call. Again, giving the residents the opportunity to provide comment without having to physically come down. So that is not anywhere in this document, but they are a couple things that I would support, whether it's now or an addendum or a change down the road. But when public comment occurs, I spoke to that. Written public comment, possibly phone public comment. Allow me just to look at my notes, please. I did also recognize, as Chair Campbell did, that we don't actually have here where a commenter needs to present their name, or for me, I'd rather see it just limited to the municipality. We talk about residents and we talk about non-residents, but nowhere in this document does it talk about this speaker needing to actually declare where they're a resident of. So, as we all know, people like to do things, well, if I didn't see it in the rules, I don't have to do it. So I think we need to find out whether that's something, if we're going to treat a municipal resident different than a non-resident, they would need to tell us if they're a resident or a non-resident, because I don't know everyone in the township. I know that's hard to believe, but I do not know all 55,000 people in the township. We're talking about non-agenda items, speaking only once during a public comment period. Supervisor Campbell spoke to that. And the last thing, and I think it's important to have, although I hope it never has to be executed, nowhere in here does it talk about how this board or members of the staff are enforce this. I don't know what happens if a member of the public decides to come up and be profane or talk for 10 minutes or talk about something that's non-township related. How is this document enforced? I don't see anything in here that speaks to that.
If I may, on that point, I don't know that I would necessarily put a specific enforcement process in here.
Okay.
I have a recommended sort of pathway.
Okay.
And it generally starts with reminding the public of the rules. Then often we suggest taking a recess to try and allow things to cool. And that's authorized under Robert's rules. We can have a meeting stand at ease, which you all would stay, everyone else would leave, as another way of, it's an alternate type of recess, which is also authorized. And then worst case scenario, and something I hope we never get to, and it's been fairly rare, there is case law that says if you have rules, you've enforced them, you've taken these steps, the individual doesn't stop, they can be ejected from a meeting. That is where you usually end up in litigation, so for all of us here. I hope we don't get to that point.
Oh, thank you. All right, well, that's all I have regarding the resolution as submitted to us, at least, for review. Thank you.
Okay, other supervisors?
I just want to make sure that it's clear that it's public comment and not question and answer.
That is noted in paragraph 1 in the
Okay.
last sentence.
I believe I read it. We have the option, if we want to answer the question. Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, other supervisor comments? So I have one other comment. So in the prior resolution, the guidelines states this: if there is insufficient time for public comment at a meeting of the Board of Supervisors, public comment may be deferred to the next meeting of the Board of Supervisors, right? Just want to throw that out there because that's in the guidelines that we currently have. And I think that would be something that should be in these rules, as well, at the discretion of the chair. Any comment about that?
I think if you come here and you sit here for 2 hours and it's public comment and we don't let people speak, I think we're gonna have an uproar. And as I said before, this is a public meeting, and when the public meeting is over, it is over. Whether you're here till 8 o'clock, 7:15, or 11 o'clock. But you cannot expect people to sit here for 2.5 hours and then not be able to do public comment.
Well, I think, as rare as the chances may be, there may be instances where we would need to defer that if there's an emergency or for whatever reason. I'm just bringing it up because it was in this prior resolution. And I just want to, again, it's on the floor, right? And again, I'd love to hear what the public, has to say about this as well.
So we've kind of taken an alternate approach to that. I think that in section 2III, there is a means for where we expect a significant amount of public comment to reduce the amount of time each individual person gets. We obviously hope not to need to do that, but I think that the best way to get through all the public comment is with the public's cooperation by what I typically suggest at the beginning of a contentious hearing, for instance, is I'll ask the public if they want to say the same thing as a previous speaker, instead of saying the same thing as the previous speaker, just note that you have the same comment as a previous speaker. And that way we don't have overly repetitive comments, because often a lot of the comments are repetitive, and we can save a lot of time in a meeting just by noting, I agree with such and such.
How do you know in advance how many folks are going to comment?
Well, we have them sign in, which is one of the things here, which will help us. But, I mean, I guess I do it through feel, to be honest with you. I've sat through a lot of contentious meetings, and you can kind of sense who's kind of moving in their seat ready to speak. So you kind of need to do it by feel.
And I'm sorry, not to belabor the issue, but I don't think it would be appropriate to give one speaker 5 minutes, and then you see that there's 10 speakers, so you give the 10th speaker 2 minutes.
You would typically announce that at the outset, which is what we have written here. So if we see a packed room, I mean, I've been in situations where we can't fit everyone in the room, so we literally have to cycle people through the door. I've typically got a sense when we're going to have a time limit concern, in my experience. I've sat through a lot of warehouses.
So do you have other municipalities who have put this clause in their rules to say that, public comment can be deferred to another meeting?
So the other way we typically handle that is if public comment's going to be deferred, the decision's not going to be made. So I would not recommend deferring public comment but making the decision, if that makes sense.
I'm speaking mostly of general public comments. That's on items that are not on the agenda.
I haven't had a situation where that was necessary.
Okay, all right, I'm just, again, throwing it out there and definitely want to hear from the public.
I mean, typically, the situations where you're gonna have exceptionally long public comment are going to be unpopular land development and subdivision things. And that's often, you're gonna have time to extend to another meeting, or it might be a conditional use hearing, which, you know, I've sat through 50 conditional use hearings for one project. Those are situations where you're gonna necessarily have another meeting, and you set an endpoint to your meeting. Like, we're gonna take our last public comment at 10 p.m. tonight and go home because I know we have to come back next month for the second conditional use hearing.
Okay.
I haven't had a lot of situations where a normal agenda, you had a line out the door with 500 people seeking to make public comment, and you had a genuine time concern.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah, in 2020 here, we had to recycle, we had an issue, and we had to recycle them back and forth because the room can only hold so many.
All right,
May I, one more just legal question, okay? I had to remember what it was. If we pass a resolution that is new to us and new to our public, and something just doesn't fit right, and it doesn't feel right, and we want to make a change down the road, can you explain what that process would be, so I understand whether it's easy or difficult, whether it's 2 minutes or 5 minutes to speak, whether it's the beginning or the end of the meeting, whether it's, you know, we
No.
decide to amend a resolution, or do we have to do a whole new one, or?
No, I mean, a resolution is a more formal motion. I've literally written resolutions while sitting at a meeting. That's not ideal under the Sunshine Act. But, you know, we can amend agendas again. So you could amend an agenda to include a resolution to amend this resolution. But it would typically be a resolution to amend a resolution.
Thank you.
all right. Okay, now it's the public's turn. Let's hear from the public comment about this proposed resolution.
John Packer, 5723 Kenwood Avenue. I guess the first thing I'd like to bring up is, I guess some of what I'm gonna have to say is gonna be in the form of a question, so I don't know if somebody's gonna wanna answer it. But I'm assuming that the Sunshine Act basically overrides Robert's Rules of Order, because the Sunshine Act is legislated and is law on how things are to be run and operated. Robert's Rules of Order are suggestions.
They work in conjunction, but the Sunshine Act would control, and nothing in this resolution violates the Sunshine Act.
Well, can you tell me then, where does it say that that it can be held, the public comment can be held at the end of the meeting? Because I haven't seen it. It says it's at the beginning, and it gives 2 exceptions to defer it if there's not enough time, or to have a special meeting for public comment. So unless I'm missing something that is in there, that's how I'm reading it, that there is no option to have it at the end of a meeting.
Well, this says beginning. This
I
document
understand
says
that,
beginning.
but
what they're suggesting is taking public comment before each action item is considered. That's what is being proposed. So you would still have public comment before each action item.
I did also mention that general public comments that are not agenda items, you know, should be done at the end of the meeting.
They're all lumped together in the Sunshine Act, the way they're described. So it's kind of hard to meter them out unless you're going to meter it out completely in this resolution. Okay?
Okay, we'll take that under advisement.
Okay, I think you do. Secondly, as to your manner of enforcement, if you don't make it public, then I don't see it as fair to the public to all of a sudden, you know, you may know what it is. The chair, who's the one that I'm assuming has to be the one to execute any sort of discipline because of, you know, ill behavior from the public during comment. But if the public's not aware of what that is, what the policy and procedure is, then how do they know, what's gonna occur, what's expected of them, when they should quit? If it's just, do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
And I come from a law enforcement background, so so like, I see it, I probably see it differently than some.
Yeah, would you like me
Nope,
to?
go ahead.
And
please
I
answer.
don't care if you do or not, it's up to you, but
No,
I don't wanna lose my 5 minutes either, because do I get 5 minutes?
You got
on-
2 minutes. You got 2 minutes left.
Well,
So,
do I have 2 minutes on, because this is an agenda item, and then I get 5 more minutes when public comment comes up, right?
there's a public comment at the end, so that's,
And that was one of my points. Is there a distinction between the two? Do I get 5 minutes of public comment on every single agenda item? Because you allow for, I could have commented on everything that was Smith.
that's a good point.
So I could have had 20 minutes, 25 minutes tonight. I'm just saying, that's not in your resolution. It's not well defined. If you get that or not.
So-
Because it kind of, you know what I mean? It kind of starts getting all melded together.
Well,
so
I
to
think
speak.
that, so there's what's written and there's what's talked about. And what's written is a max of 5 minutes per person for public comment. That's what's written. So that's, I think, a bright line rule. As a law enforcement officer, you're familiar with prosecutorial discretion, correct?
Sure.
So we have a set of rules. They're not supposed to be violated.
Right.
But the board has discretion in enforcing them. And that's generally the case in law enforcement and municipal government. And in my experience, you have to have a range of possible enforcement. But generally speaking, I think, in my view, it should start with reminding the public of the rule. Hey, please stop shouting from the audience.
Sure.
And if we cannot get the behavior to stop, that's when we might ramp up to other potential enforcement
And all
measures.
I'm saying is that should just be part of your guidelines that you have.
Excuse me, I'd like to comment, because I also was the one that brought up 2 separate public comments, and, to your point, because, no offense to our new solicitor, but I'm more inclined to say 1 bite at the apple, 5 minutes, every public comment period that we offer. So if you want to come up for every agenda item and speak for 5 minutes, I would like to hear you.
Right.
One time, one item, 5 minutes.
And that's all I'm saying. There
So
seems to be a
we have
mixing of.
We do have a difference of opinion in how that would be executed. It's not your opinion, I'm just saying.
No, I think what you're looking for might just be different than what we suggested. And if we have
I just don't think it's delineated, not so much what you suggested, it's not delineated as they're putting it out.
I think maybe we weren't clear. We have a document we prepared. I'm hearing different ideas from some of the board members that would require changes to this document. But as it's written, it's 5 minutes
Yes.
and a max of 5 minutes. If we elect to change and go 5 minutes per time you walk up, I'll have to make changes to the document. I mean, for instance, one of the things we did add is you can't yield, transfer, or assign your time. That happened quasi at the last meeting. That's just very difficult to track. So some of this is just establishing those rules because, again, we're trying to get meetings to run smoothly in a lot of different ways. And if we just have those out front, I think it's a lot easier when that happens. Ma'am, we're sorry, you can't assign your time to someone else. If you're done, that's your time.
Certainly, and again, that should be part of your guidelines that anybody should have. They should be on the website.
Yes, then they
should
will be.
Readily available.
And I agree with Supervisor Scheib. I think on every agenda item, if somebody wants to come up and speak, they should have that 5 minutes, because there might be 10 agenda items and you can't address everything if they decide to do a public comment on agenda items
Right.
in the beginning.
So if there are 10 agenda items and we call for public comment
I can get up all 10 times.
all day,
I probably won't, but
Yeah.
at least I have
But
that.
you have the opportunity.
so
Again,
let's-
I would say my
Okay.
biggest concern is, I know that there's discussion as to, you said it's in there as the beginning. That's all I see in the Sunshine Act. There is nothing in there for public comment to be held at the end of a meeting.
right. Thank you, Mr. Packer. Other public comments?
Anthony Cristillo. I just don't understand why this is even an issue. this public comment, you say this is a resolution that's been in effect for the past 10 years, and it hasn't been an issue all along, and it just seems like you just don't like the way things are going over the past couple months, and now you want to change this. Put public comment back at the beginning and just leave it the way it is. It was very simple. It worked fine for all these years, and then speak 5 minutes, and that's it. That's done. And listen, I know I get excited sometimes, and you don't like the things that I say, and I, try to control myself, but you make it hard when you're not doing a good job. But listen, that's just a comment. That's not a question. So bottom line, I'm just saying, leave public comment at the beginning. Leave it the way it's been for the past number of years. It hasn't been an issue, right, Robin? I mean, you've been here a long
We
time.
never had an issue before.
Right. So I just don't know why this is turned into this. Look how long you're dragging this meeting out, just discussing public comment, a resolution.
Thank you for your
Let's
comment.
move public comment back to the beginning. Now, I get the public comment later yet, right?
Yes, you do.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Other public comment about the resolution, proposed resolution.
Hello, Jay Purdy, 4731 Duke Street. Just a small point, and it's something I would more concerning setting a precedent that the chair can defer comment on any issue. I would want to make sure that the chair couldn't defer comment on any issue, on a particular issue, and have that be rolling to each meeting. So at every meeting, that particular issue gets deferred again and deferred again. That's just something I'd like you to consider.
Good
Thank
point.
you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Purdy. Other public comment.
Allowed to do that, right? Okay. So I agree that the public comment should be in the beginning. I don't think it should be on the agenda items because, for instance, if you had public comment before them, like I wouldn't have known the PennDOT guys were going to say like I couldn't have asked them about the Locust Lane project. I didn't even know what they were going to say. Like you don't know what they're going to say on an agenda item if public comment is before the agenda item. So you kind of have to hear what everyone's talking about on the agenda before you can make a comment on it. So, but say your public comment doesn't have to do with the agenda item. And as far as the enforcement, two solicitors ago, it was several meetings ago, there was a supervisor that resigned. Her husband read a resignation letter. Things did get heated, and I used the word bullshit. And Cohen versus California, I'm sure you're very aware of it. I was actually threatened by that solicitor to be removed by a man with a gun. The man with the gun said he would never have removed me for that, but it did get contentious in here. And so I'm glad you brought up the First Amendment issues because it got contentious. And, I wasn't forced to say the word, but I did get upset and said a bad word, but they are allowed words like that. And not that I'm the one to come up here and cursing and swearing at people. I don't. It was just a contentious meeting. We had a bad manager. But I do agree that public comments should be moved back to the beginning. I do agree that perhaps just like that PennDOT thing, like, hey, anyone have any comment on that? I don't know, we don't have any comments on contracts I guess we could, but technically, but I don't know if you all saw the irony and you're trying to change something that you're not really changing at all. You're really not. And there's irony that you spend all that time talking about it, saying about we shouldn't be redundant, but I don't think you realized how redundant you were in that whole conversation. That's all.
Thank you for your comment. Other public comment. Mr. Minsker.
Bill Minsker, 5956 Linglestown Road in Linglestown. Short item that I have not heard anyone talk about as to why public comment, general, non-agenda public comment, should be at the beginning of the meeting. As I think all of you know and probably have experienced, one of the worst, most difficult, challenging things for many, many people is to speak in front of the public. It's worse than going to the dentist or dying. and people who come to this meeting and have a public comment to make already in their mind know what they want to say. In many cases, they have never spoken in front of the public before. To get in front of the public and make a comment, knowing that it's recorded, filmed, this is a very challenging, trying experience for many people. If they have to wait until the end of the meeting to make that comment, all that time that they're sitting here, they're becoming more and more nervous, more and more uncomfortable. If they can say what they want to say and have it done at the beginning of the meeting, I think for many people, they would be much more comfortable. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Minsker.
William Miller, 4311, what Bill said, people be more inclined to speak early. I talk to a lot of people, I know that's shocking, but most of the people, they want to see the agenda items at the beginning. I mean the agenda. They want to see the public comment at the beginning. And as you're sitting during a meeting, sometimes a question will come up, and then, would you like to comment on the PennDOT thing? Well, sure. You didn't have an idea. You had no idea you were going to talk about it until they talked about it, or somebody else made a comment. So it's kind of a collaborative type process with that. But I do agree that we should go back to the beginning. People do get antsy. They don't want to talk. They get cold feet, and people at home, some of them are probably dozing off. So I think they do want to see it early on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comment, Mr. Miller. Other public comment?
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I am signed in. I won't provide my name over here, but
You're a resident?
yes, I am a
taxpaying
resident.
Okay.
Yes. So I've been watching for the last few weeks. Was watching tonight, saw what was going on here, and I thought I woke up in America. But this is an absolute disgrace. Saying you can't ask questions, you're worried about going home early. So that's really it. I mean, absolutely a disgrace. Let the public make their comments. If that's not, especially if you don't want to be here late, you shouldn't have run for the position. So thank you very much.
Thank you for your comment. Any other public comment? All right. Hearing none, so again, what we will do is we will take all the public comments, we'll take the comments from the supervisors into consideration. We will revise the proposed rules and be prepared to vote on it next meeting. But again, at that time, there will be public comment.
Can I just ask a question?
Yes.
I would like to see this before it hits the public. I don't see anything until Friday night when the agenda goes up, when all of you see. So I would like to take a look of this before it hits the agenda, please.
Okay.
I'd like to make another suggestion. Sorry, this one might be a little more difficult. I would like to see a document as presented that allows us to vote, if necessary, on individual items of, I don't want to say disagreement, but contention. Like for right now, we have a difference of opinion for those of us that sit up here, for the audience that publicly spoke before or after. Maybe we need to go down, if there's anything that, I'd still like to see written comments. Nobody else has mentioned anything like that, but it would address Mr. Minsker's, perhaps there are people that won't speak in public. I would love to see us, if we're going to do this document, somehow dissect it, that each element that may or may not be in agreement between us somehow be codified to be a document. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody. I know that would be difficult. That might be hard to do.
May I make a suggestion?
Please do.
I mean, I can kind of operate on consensus. Is everyone happy to accept written public comments? And I can include that. I can include it as an alternate in the next draft. But if you all would like to provide me an idea of which way you're going, I can craft it. I can craft multiple versions.
So I'm of the opinion that public comment should be made in person. I think if you come, you sit in the boardroom, you stand up and you represent your ideas and thoughts to the public. I just have a sense about that, a feeling about it, that it should be done here. That's just my view.
Yeah, and I agree. I think if you do want to contact the township, you can contact it to the board through email, or you can contact us also through, there's a phone number, and you can let it there. And then therefore, it's put in our packet every Friday, and staff will, say either they've handled it or this is what's going to be happening.
Would
You could, I'm
Would
sorry.
you like some municipalities have a correspondence agenda item? That that
I
can be
don't know.
handled that way?
I'm not inclined, look, I think that we're accessible to the public. We can always get an email. People can reach out to us. They can reach out to the township manager with questions. That avenue
I'll
is there
retract
as
that.
well.
I'll retract that since there seems to be, but now I have to ask, because this is how my mind thinks, just have to ask. Public comment, is it comments by the public or comments made in public? What is public comment?
I don't think it's, well, before I say that,
That's a good question.
it's not defined, but basically, and this is included in the draft, the Sunshine Act says that the board has to provide a reasonable opportunity for residents to comment on all matters listed for official action and to comment on any other matters of concern which may come before the board. So it's not specific as to the format.
Sunshine Act does,
All right. Any other public comment about the resolution? All right, so moving on to item number 7 on the agenda. This is the general public comment.
Kimberly Hershey, 146 North Arlington Avenue. I put a phone call into Michael, have yet to receive your return phone call, okay? I went, and the police keep coming to my house because of my parking lot in front of my house. You guys are gonna pave the road, you're not gonna pave the parking lot in front of my house. I need the township to come out and put a line where the street is and where my parking lot is. The neighbor across the street constantly calls the police. He constantly parks on my property. And the police have emailed and to contact the township, and you're not even getting back to them, okay? I have a parking pad in front of my house. My neighbor has one. When you pave the street, you said you're not going to widen the road. Great. You're just going to pave. But I cannot wait till next year, okay? I talked to Matt, because the police told me I needed to talk to Amanda and I needed to talk to Matt. I went, and that's what I did after the gym on Monday. And Matt told me, or he relayed it to Lisa, that it's a civil matter. Well, I can't even go to civil court until I know where the street is. So, Mike, I would appreciate it if you would return my phone call tomorrow, because I need to know where the street is. I know where it is, but my neighbor doesn't.
Nobody told me you called.
Yeah, I did. I called when the cops were coming out, because the cops were there on Sunday and they were out there again today. And the police are tired of coming for the same reason. I mean, it's usually a weekly thing. And they're tired of it. I don't blame them. But they can't see where the street is and where the parking lot is. It's very visible. If you want to get on Google and look at it, you can see what North Arlington Avenue looks like. I mean, I did come here in January and I was very happy that we got you guys to say, you got us on the agenda to have our street paved, and you're going to work on our drainage issue, but we're still waiting for the speed bump at the front of North Arlington and Elmerton Avenue to take the water down Elmerton Avenue, but that hasn't happened yet. I mean, it is raining a lot, and we would really like to have our speed bump. You promised that to us. And, you know, if you would have had the comments in the beginning, because I left a soccer game where my granddaughter was playing. And I figured, well, I had to get here. Had I known they were at the end, I could have finished watching her soccer game. You know, just saying. So, you know, I don't want to file a civil suit, but if I do, I need to know where the street ends. That's all I'm asking. Come out, I'll pay for you to spray paint a line, as long as the township does it. And you need to then send a letter to 145 North Arlington Avenue and let Mr. Gallagher know where the street is. Because as soon as that's marked, I'm moving my fence out. I'm not having a parking lot in front of my house because since 1993, it's been nothing but aggravation. And then you can also move the drain too, the sewer drain like you're gonna do. So I don't end up with all the stones and all the debris from Elmerton Avenue right in front of my driveway.
Do you have any more public comments?
Well, just to let you know, I like to clean up my neighborhood. So you know where that dumpster was? I've cleaned out 6 feet of it so far. Interesting trash, let me tell you. But God has asked me to do that, clean up my neighborhood, and that's exactly what I'm doing. And I wanted to say thank you for PennDOT being here because now I got a phone number that I can call them. So,
Okay.
but yeah, now I can go home. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment, Ms. Hershey.
Anthony Cristello. I'm going to make a comment, and then if you want to answer the question, you can. But I understand, you know, a couple weeks ago when I said about the DCED report that wouldn't be done till maybe June. I know we missed the April 1st deadline. I'm wondering, and this is a comment, not a question, but the EMMA MSRB report's due June 30th. I'm just wondering if we're going to meet that deadline.
Thank you for your comment. Any other public comment?
Sorry, I had another public comment. It was really about public comment. So some of you seem to have a problem with people that don't come up and give their. Some of you need to think outside the box, and there might be a reason people don't want to give their name and address. And they may have been a victim of something or other in their lifetime in this township. We sign in. You even say in the old regs it says sign in the new ones it says sign in. I always sign my name over there. You can look me up, you know what I mean? I find it like kind of almost like pushing, like, and the Sunshine Law does say resident / taxpayer, and I am a resident, like I am, not making it up. I kind of wonder how that taxpayer thing is looked at. Like, does it have to be a taxpayer of the municipality? Or is it like a state taxpayer? I mean, I think most people are like taxpayers, or if you work in the municipality, or if you like do business in the municipality, are you still not paying taxes if you shop in the municipality and you're paying taxes and that business, you know, does. And I know there have been people and you allow it, and actually your new thing is just the same as the old one. Like before, people could actually contact I was disappointed last week when the people came here from Hodges Heights over by the site that not one supervisor said to them, hey, you know, you could contact us and get on the agenda and do a presentation, because they could have always done that. I've been to these meetings for several years, and there have been people that have got on the agenda when they had presentations to make. But no one suggested to that poor couple to do that, and they have been coming here. I feel for those people, and I wish someone had suggested it to them instead of just like cutting them off. You know, I mean, I know we all only get our minutes, so, you know, I understand that. You can't allow that. But I wished I had had their name and number, because I wanted to contact them and say, look, why don't you just contact the township and get on the agenda? And then they could do a little slideshow presentation for what they're dealing with. So that's, I'm pretty sure the only thing I had wanted to come back up and say.
Okay.
Oh, wait. The utilities thing that PennDOT guy brought up about Locust Lane, like he almost seemed to put it back on the township again. Like I got the impression that from him that Locust Lane isn't even going to get done in spring of 27. Like I'm like, oh, spring of 27, Locust Lane. He's like, well, yeah, no, the utilities are holding that up. What? Like I know I can't ask the question. Who do you even ask that question of now? Like I don't even know that answer. Do I call the township manager tomorrow and ask him that? Like,
Well, the utilities are like, the
But you can call the
utilities are
township
gas
manager.
and water. That has nothing to do with the township.
I mean,
yeah.
for people that live off of Locust Lane, it's been awful. It really has been. And evidently it's going to continue to be awful for, I don't know, the unforeseeable future. So
We all travel it, and unfortunately, it's a state.
well, we don't all.
we can
Right,
call
I know.
state road.
I know it is. But then he like said utilities. I'm like, what does he even mean by that? Utilities.
Yeah, water,
Yeah.
gas, because the water company had come in and replaced the gas
I know.
company.
I
came in.
unfortunately got excited thinking they were going to repave the road.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not even
Yeah.
like, I don't know. Whatever.
So email the state.
Yeah, I did.
Did you?
That's
Okay.
they're the ones that told me spring of 26. Mm-hmm. So I'll email them again.
There
Thanks.
you go.
Thank you for your comment.
Regarding the couple that was here last week, they know exactly what they can do in terms of their presentation because we've had discussions about it.
I think they've made presentations before.
I believe so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they have made presentations before.
Yeah, and we did meet with what's probably been, 3 or 4 weeks ago, through not only them, but there was, probably close to 20 people here. It was on a Friday afternoon from Hodges Heights.
All right. Any other public comment? Mr. Miller?
William Miller, 4311 Crestview. On Conway, I just didn't know. I'm still been asking. I don't know what the yard waste plans are. I go out there a lot, and boy, it's looking packed. You know, it's as if they're not grinding as much stuff to keep the dust down. And again, I just don't know if what your vision is for that. I almost see it personally becoming a transfer station, just to load it up and haul it to another location, which we've discussed. But I'm fearful. I don't want to wake up one day and not have access, because I still have human beings near me on Goose Valley dumping their crap on DeSanto's golf course area. So I think it's a real hot topic to me anyway. And with the number of people we have, and as we grow, yard waste is going to get worse instead of better. I'm also worried about, I've asked what are these solutions for sidewalks to get down to our new park? That's just something to throw out there, and I'll put it, I'll recommend that to the Greenway Committee. I asked, and no one's got back to me, the Woodcrest right-of-way. I had people, we want to get down there and clean up all that crap, but it is a sewer department right-of-way. They have a forest mulcher, and I'm just hoping they can chew their way in there so we can go out there and get all that trash out of there. I mean, it's our time, our bags, our effort. Just no one ever gets back to me on that one. As regard to, I mentioned about a school committee at the Planning Commission. With 7 municipalities feeding into the Central Dauphin District, we're the largest stakeholder. But with the amount of construction I see in West Hanover, I don't feel that your constituents should be footing, the school taxes should rise for that, all the construction there and in the other 6 municipalities, Dauphin and everywhere. I'm recommending we should be the leader and have some kind of a committee that works hand in hand with the school district to decide how much construction can happen in each of those 7 municipalities. The schools are already maxed out. It's going to be a huge deal breaker to the taxpayer. But I feel that there is a solution. Developers have to develop. I'm not against that at all. I know these guys. I do. And it just that the supervisors in each municipality can control that rate of development at a sustainable rate. And then with the expertise you have from Central Dauphin, we heard from the superintendent, Eric Turman, $100 million just to improve that high school to accommodate the 750 homes that are gonna be out there off of Wenrick Street, not even including the cost of that street to our taxpayers or however we pay for it. It's just something to throw out there. I think that there should be a group of all the people that are stakeholders in the central. Oh, is that my time?
No, that wasn't
The hook.
Police officer, I think.
You still got a minute and a half. So.
I'm sure you guys were thinking of that, but I thought I just, the people watch this, it's hugely important to me. And people just keep moving in and building. I can say, West Hanover's going, hey, where are these people coming from? Well, it's cheaper to live here or live in Philly or DC or Baltimore, that's for sure. The other thing I know that there was a question on multi-generational homes. Is their water bill related to their sewer rate? In other words, when you have 4 or 5 people, we know, I'm not being demeaning to anybody. This is what happens. You get multiple people. So, that's a lot of sewage. They're paying for the water, but how do we offset that sewer rate? I mean, a lot. I believe in Harrisburg at one time, your sewer rate was based off of your water usage. That is in some places. Is that something we should simply look at so it's all fair? I don't know. Because we have to pay for all that. Ms. Smith, she's been 3 agenda items, you were on it tonight, and that's another question. And the last one, what else did I have in here? I know I get a lot of questions. I know we're not having fireworks, but we have a phenomenal director, and when we're asked to take some of this advice, I'd like to have seen something there. But I mean, I think we should consider, with his expertise, going with those suggestions in the future. And if it didn't work, well, we'll go to Plan B. We'll go to Plan C. But right now, I'm getting a lot of heat from people. I'm not being demeaning. Again, I'm getting a lot of heat. People are, everybody. I don't know. I don't know how it worked. It's not going to happen. I just don't know. Should we not have something, to celebrate our 250th?
We're going to have something, Mr. Miller. You haven't. I don't remember you ever missing a meeting since December, and that we did the survey of the residents of Lower Paxton Township, and they voted against having the fireworks.
People, I got the worst email in North America. So
that's what the board went with.
Okay.
Okay.
No, I stand corrected, and I apologize.
The choice of the Lower Paxton Township residents.
Okay.
Thank you.
And the item for the speaking, was that posted? Should I have seen that today when I went on to?
Yes.
What item was that?
The rules of order.
It's on the
Yeah,
website.
it's on the website. Yeah, the proposed
On the agenda.
rules.
Were they there today?
Yes, they
Okay.
were.
Okay, I guess I'm missing
And
them.
your time is up, but if you
No,
want
but
to conclude your.
I'd like to see that. I mean, I'll look for it.
Yeah, go
If
look.
not,
It's
I
out
may
there.
get a copy at the desk.
It's out there.
I like to read those things.
Just go to the agenda item, and right underneath, you can just hit it, and then
There's
it'll
a
show you.
hyperlink. Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Mr. Miller. Any other public comment? All right, seeing no other public comments, item number 8, any announcements? Any announcements?
I have a couple. So, I left my notes at home that John Hanks emailed me for the 250 celebration, but I do know that we'll have the Memorial Day Parade. So I can say that. I also know that we are still looking for volunteers, and that's all I'll be able to say on that tonight. At the next meeting, I will have my email with me because it's quite extensive. I want to read one more letter from the senior van program. This one is actually from George Scott, the president of the Lower Paxton Township Senior Van program. Dear Senior Van Rider, recently Dauphin County has had their funding decreased by the state as a result of the state having a funding decrease by the federal government. As a result, Dauphin County has had to decrease their funding to the local van services, including Lower Paxton Senior Van Service. Dauphin County has also added some additional requirements to their contract and attachments. We can probably comply with all of it, but it might be a struggle. Whenever the Lower Paxton Senior Van transports you or when our dispatchers schedule your appointments, we often receive comments from the riders about how much you appreciate our service and how you would struggle if you didn't have the van service. Lower Paxton has been very generous and supportive to the van service, and we really appreciate that. We want to continue that cooperation. We would appreciate if you would share your comments with the township. If each rider sends a letter or a note to the township manager and the township supervisors expressing how valuable this van service is to you and or to your family member, we would really appreciate it. It may help save the van service someday. Thank you in advance for your support, George Scott. I just wanted to make sure that that got out to the rest of the community so that people could respond. I did share a letter last week from one of the van riders, and I expect we'll probably be getting a few more in. But as he said, because of the federal government budget cutting, they're being impacted.
Okay.
And that,
Supervisor Lindsay?
Yeah, can I just ask a question, Mike, on that? It was on my list to ask you. Can we do something to, support them, give them, what they need, a stipend, whatever, to keep that van service here in Lower Paxton Township?
Yeah, I think the number, when talking with George, I think it's like 20,000 that they lost
Okay.
through federal funding. And it's certainly something that township, I would believe, would want to support wholeheartedly.
I would.
Not that we'd like to, with the federal government losing or reducing the funding, either we cut the van service or we diminish the van service, which I don't think there's any support on this board to have happen, because I tell you, they're wonderful people. The volunteers are wonderful people, and they spend a lot of time. And I mean, when I see the amount of time, the amount of miles driven, and the efforts of our volunteers, it just shows you what a giving community that we have here. And I certainly would not want to see that diminished at all. So we certainly would be able to find the money to keep the van service
And so
rolling.
when is their money going to start to diminish?
I think there's a lot of things that you have to be very concerned about, and the van service, they're just drivers. They're not supposed to be handling the patients. They're not supposed to be helping them in and out of homes and stuff like that. So you got to remember, you're only handling a segment of population that is not ambulatory, or they can get up and walk and get in the van, get out of the van without the help. There's also a segment of the population that does not have that ability either,
Right.
and they have to rely on other services as well. So.
Yeah, but my question is, when is their money going to start to diminish that we would need to start giving to them?
I don't know that answer, but George and I have been having regular conversations.
Okay.
All right. I would like to make an announcement. So the township is having a 250 Star Spangled Spectacular Sunday, July 5th, 4 to 8 p.m. It's a free event at Dauphin County Heroes Grove, 5010 Commons Drive. There'll be a band, Susquehanna Dance Academy, Freedom Garden Dance. So just want to encourage the public to come out and to enjoy that on Sunday, and there are activities on Saturday, as well. But this event is on Sunday, July 5th. Any other announcements?
the 250 celebration is the day before on Saturday at the park, just above Heroes Grove.
Got you. Yep.
Okay.
And that's 10 to 1. And a lot of people, if you don't know where Heroes Grove is, it's at Brightbill Park, but it's at the upper part of Brightbill Park.
Next
And
to
it's-
Friendship Center.
Yep, that's what I was going to say, the Friendship YMCA.
Dr. Stewart, do you have any comment? Any announcements?
Mr. Chair, I got a comment. I wanted to wait until the end of everything before I made my statement. I want to thank Adam Kashiba, because I think he's the most amazing I want to call him police chief because that's what he should be. Public safety director around. I've been in law enforcement for 24 years. I've worked in numerous states. I've worked with numerous police commissioners, safety people, and by far, we have the best police guidance, leadership, and staff that I've ever worked with in the 3 states I've worked. So I really appreciate you. I want you to always know that I got your back 110%. All right, thank you.
We appreciate you. We all appreciate you.
We all
Great work.
appreciate you.
Great team.
We'll talk about that.
All right. So, with our business being completed today, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Supervisor Lindsay. All in favor, please signify aye. Aye. Ayes have it. Thank you all so much for your patience and attending today.
Where they live the last stop, not where her property begins. Yeah. I mean, I want to tell her.